In the journey of life, there's a companion often misunderstood, yet one of the most valuable allies you could ever have. This companion isn't celebrated like success nor welcomed with open arms. Its name? Failure. Now, many of you might lean back, skepticism written all over your faces, wondering how can failure, often the source of disappointment and pain, be our best friend? Well, let me take you down a path less traveled, revealing a perspective perhaps unseen or unappreciated. Imagine yourself embarking on a journey towards your dreams that sparkle in your mind like stars in the night sky. Distant, yet alluring. You start with a heart full of hope and a mind brimming with possibilities. Then as you take your first steps, you encounter your first fall, your first stumble, failure. Now, here's where the story turns. At that moment of failure, you're standing at a crossroads. One path leads you back to where you started, safe yet unchanged. The other path, though, is where failure becomes your guide, not your enemy. It whispers secrets of resilience, of strength, and of the hidden treasures that lie in trying, falling, and rising again. Failure, dear friends, is not the opposite of success. It's a part of it. Think of the greatest inventors, the pioneers, the visionaries. What's one thing they all had in common? They failed, not once, but repeatedly. But every time they fell, they collected the golden nuggets of experience, wisdom, and insight. They understood that to reach the pinnacles of success, one must wade through the valleys of failures. Consider Thomas Edison, who famously said, "I have not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work." His journey to inventing the light bulb was littered with trials and errors, yet each failure brought him closer to illumination, both literally and metaphorically. He embraced failure as a teacher, a mentor that guided him to his ultimate destination. In our own lives, we often face setbacks and challenges. We try, we falter, and sometimes our dreams seem to slip further away with each attempt. But it's in these moments that failure, our uncelebrated friend, is working its quiet magic. It's chiseling away our fears, sharpening our focus, and forging our determination. Think of failure as the fire that tempers steel. Without the heat, without the hammering, and without the cooling, steel would never reach its potential strength. Similarly, without facing the fires of failure, we would never discover the strength that lies within us, waiting to be unveiled. So, my message to you today is not to fear failure, but to embrace it, to learn from it, and to let it propel you forward. Your dreams are worth the trials, the falls, and the rises. Remember, in every story of triumph, failure has a starring role, pushing the hero towards their destiny. Let's change our perception of failure. Let's befriend it. Let's walk hand in hand with it towards the future we dream of. For in that journey, you'll find the essence of growth, learning, and ultimate success. As we walk through this speech together, keep this thought in your heart. Failure is not the end of the road. It's a stepping stone on the path to greatness. As we journey together through the landscape of understanding, let's shift our gaze to a horizon where failure is not a shadow, but a source of light, illuminating our path to greatness. It's about redefining failure not as a setback, but as a setup for a remarkable comeback. In the tapestry of life, every thread of experience contributes to the masterpiece we're creating. Each failure, each misstep is like a color, adding depth and contrast to our story. It's time we start seeing failure not as the unraveling of our dreams, but as a critical part of the weaving process. Let's consider the process of learning to walk. A child doesn't stand and stride forward with perfect balance on the first attempt. No, it's a series of tumbles, stumbles, and falls. Yet each fall is celebrated, not frowned upon. Why? Because with every fall, the child is learning, growing, and inching closer to walking. Each failure is a lesson in balance, coordination, and perseverance. It's this natural learning process, uninhibited by fear of failure, that we need to re-embrace. The society, however, often paints failure with a brush of shame and disappointment. We're taught to hide our failures, to cover them up with a veneer of unblemished records. But what if we chose to wear our failures as badges of honor, as testament to our courage to try, to dare, and to step into the arena of challenge? Reframing failure begins with understanding its role. Failure is a mentor, a guide, a navigator steering us through the uncharted waters of our potential. It shows us where we need to grow, what skills we need to develop, and which areas of our life need more focus. It pushes us out of the complacency of the familiar and nudges us towards new frontiers. When you encounter failure, ask yourself, what can I learn from this? This simple question shifts your perspective from blame to curiosity, from a focus on what went wrong to what can be improved. It's a transformative approach that turns stumbling blocks into stepping stones. In this redefinition of failure, let's also embrace the power of resilience. Resilience is born in the soil of failure. It's the ability to bounce back, to rise again stronger, wiser, and more determined. Every time we overcome a failure, our resilience muscle gets stronger, preparing us for bigger challenges and greater victories. Think of it this way. The oak tree doesn't grow strong and mighty in the shelter of the valley, but on the wind-swept hillsides where it's tested and challenged by the elements. Similarly, our strength, our character, and our capabilities are honed in the face of challenges and failures. They shape us into more resilient, more capable, and more empathetic individuals. Failure also teaches us humility and empathy. It keeps us grounded, reminding us that we're human, ever evolving, ever learning. It connects us with others as we realize that everyone has their own battles and setbacks. The shared experience of failure makes us kinder, more understanding, and more supportive of each other's journeys. In redefining failure, let's not forget the role of perspective. Perspective is like a lens through which we view the events of our lives. Change the lens, and you change the view. Look at failure through the lens of growth, opportunity, and learning, and you'll find it less daunting, less final. Remember, the stories we admire most, the tales that stir our hearts, are not about flawless journeys, but about resilience, recovery, and redemption. They're about the underdog who overcomes odds, the phoenix that rises from the ashes. Your life story is no less inspiring. Every chapter of failure adds to the epic tale you're writing, a tale of overcoming, of triumph, of relentless pursuit of your dreams. As we continue our exploration, weaving through the tapestry of time, let's turn the pages of history. Here, nestled in the annals of the past, are stories that sing the praises of failure as the purser to success. These narratives, not mere anecdotes, serve as beacons, guiding us through our own trials and tribulations. Let's venture back and look at some familiar names, individuals whose failures became not their epitaphs, but rather the prologue to their success stories. These are not just tales of overcoming odds. They are testimonies to the resilience of the human spirit, to our innate ability to rise from the ashes of our failed attempts. Consider Abraham Lincoln, a name synonymous with leadership and change. But do you know the story of his journey? It's a path marked by defeat, loss, and failure. Lincoln faced business failures and was defeated in numerous legislative races. Yet he didn't let these setbacks define him. Instead, they shaped his character, honed his wisdom, and fortified his resolve. When he finally became the President of the United States, it was these very failures that had equipped him to lead a nation through its most challenging period. His story teaches us that sometimes the road to success is paved with the bricks of failure. Then there's the tale of Thomas Edison, an inventor whose name is etched in the annals of innovation. His journey to inventing the light bulb was anything but a straight line. It was a winding path of trials, errors, and over 10,000 failures. Yet Edison famously remarked that each failed attempt was merely another step towards success. He embraced each failure, learning from it and moving forward. It was his persistence through failure that eventually illuminated the world. Edison's story is a powerful reminder that persistence and learning from failure are the ingredients of success. Let's also not forget the story of the Wright brothers, Orville and Wilbur. These pioneers of aviation faced ridicule and disbelief. Their attempts at flight were initially marked by crashes, broken wings, and skepticism. Yet they persevered, driven by the belief that human flight was possible. Their failures were not setbacks, but stepping stones, each one bringing them closer to their historic flight at Kitty Hawk. The Wright brothers' journey is a testament to the power of a vision so strong that it turns failures into milestones. Now let's bring it closer to our time, to a name known in almost every household, J.K. Rowling. Before the world knew her as the author of Harry Potter, Rowling was a struggling writer, a single mother living on welfare. Her manuscript was rejected by multiple publishers, deemed unlikely to succeed. Yet she clung to her story, believing in the magic she had created. Today, her books have not only achieved monumental success, but have also sparked the imaginations of millions worldwide. Rowling's journey is a beacon to anyone who fears their work. Their art, their dream is facing rejection and failure. Each of these stories is a mosaic, pieces of failure, beautifully arranged to create a masterpiece of success. These historical figures were no different from you or me. They felt disappointment. They faced despair, but they chose to keep moving forward. Their lives remind us that every great achievement was once deemed impossible, every path to success littered with obstacles. But it is our response to these obstacles, our resilience in the face of failure, that defines our journey. As we dwell on these stories, let's not just be inspired by them. Let's draw lessons from them. They teach us that failure is not the antithesis of success. It is its companion. They encourage us to persist, to learn, and to grow. They urge us to keep our eyes on our goals, even when our paths are clouded by failures. So, as we continue on our paths, let us carry these stories in our hearts. Let them be the light that guides us through our moments of doubt and despair. Remember, history is not just about the past. It's a mirror reflecting our potential future, a future where our failures are not stumbling blocks, but stepping stones to our greatest achievements. As we journey further in to the heart of our discussion, let's ponder a vital aspect of our lives, personal development. It's a path often winding and rugged, marked by the signposts of failures and setbacks. Yet it's these very markers that guide us towards growth, understanding, and self-discovery. In the realm of personal development, failure is not just a teacher. It's a rigorous trainer. Like a trainer in the gym, failure pushes you beyond your perceived limits, challenges your endurance, and tests your resolve. When lifting weights, the resistance strengthens you, and in a similar vein, each failure you encounter adds to your mental and emotional strength. It's in the moments of failure that our character is sculpted, chiseled out of the rock of adversity and challenge. Think of failure as a refining fire. Gold, in its raw form, is mixed with impurities. It's the process of smelting, where intense heat is applied, that brings out the pure, valuable metal. In our lives, failures are those moments of intense heat. They burn away our doubts, fears, and limitations, leaving behind a purer, more resilient version of ourselves. Personal development through failure also involves a change in mindset. It requires us to shift from a fixed mindset where abilities are seen as static to a growth mindset where abilities can be developed through dedication and hard work. This shift is fundamental. With a fixed mindset, Failure is a label, a dead end. But with a growth mindset, failure is just a temporary setback, an opportunity for learning and growth. In this journey of personal growth, it's crucial to embrace vulnerability. Vulnerability is often seen as a weakness, but in reality, it's a strength. It's the courage to face your failures, to acknowledge them, and to learn from them. It's the willingness to stand back up, to dust yourself off, and to try again, armed with the wisdom of your experiences. Vulnerability is the birthplace of innovation, creativity, and change. As you navigate through your failures, keep in mind the power of reflection. After a setback, take a moment to pause and reflect. Ask yourself, what did this experience teach me? What can I do better next time? How has this shaped my understanding? This reflection turns experience into insight and failure into wisdom. It's also essential to cultivate resilience. Resilience is like a muscle. It strengthens with use. Every time you choose to persevere in the face of failure, you build your resilience. This resilience becomes your shield, helping you weather the storms of adversity and keep moving forward. In your journey of personal development, let's not forget the role of gratitude. It might seem counterintuitive to be grateful for failure, but gratitude shifts your focus from what you've lost to what you've gained: resilience, strength, wisdom, and humility. Gratitude in failure keeps you grounded and balanced. Moreover, failure fosters empathy. When you've walked through the valleys of setbacks and disappointments, you develop a deeper understanding and compassion for others in their struggles. This empathy enriches your relationships, enhances your leadership abilities, and deepens your connection with those around you. So, as we traverse through our own landscapes of personal development, let's view failure not as a shadow obscuring our path, but as a beacon guiding our way. Let's recognize that each failure molds us, shapes us, and propels us toward a better version of ourselves. As we conclude this segment of our discussion, hold on to the notion that your failures are not just stumbling blocks, but stepping stones leading you to higher ground. In the garden of personal growth, the seeds of failure, when watered with reflection, resilience, and gratitude, can bloom into the most beautiful flowers of success and fulfillment. Let's continue to walk this path, embracing each failure as a friend, a teacher, and a guide, leading us towards our best selves. As we tread further along this path of understanding, let's turn our focus to a crucial element in our dance with failure: our attitude. The attitude we carry is the lens through which we view the world, including our failures. It shapes our thoughts, colors our perceptions, and dictates our reactions to life's myriad challenges. Because individuals can face the same setback, the same failure. One sees it as the end of the road, a signal to give up, while the other sees it as a mere detour, an opportunity to learn and grow. What makes the difference? It's their attitude. An attitude that embraces failure as a part of the journey is like a well-built ship facing a storm. Yes, the waters are rough, the winds are fierce, and the path is uncertain. But the ship, powered by a positive attitude, navigates through the tumult, learning from each wave, each gust of wind. It emerges from the storm stronger, more resilient, ready to sail further and explore deeper. That's the power of a positive attitude in facing failure. In the face of failure, an attitude of resilience and optimism acts like a buffer. It softens the blow, not by diminishing the significance of the setback, but by cushioning its impact. It allows you to see beyond the immediate disappointment to a future filled with possibilities. An optimistic attitude whispers, this is not the end, but a new beginning. Not a failure, but a lesson. Not a time to lament, but a time to reflect and rise. Moreover, a positive attitude ignites a spark of creativity. When faced with failure, it encourages you not to tread the same path, but to carve a new one. It challenges you to think outside the box, to innovate, It's in these moments of creative thinking that new solutions are born, solutions that transform failure into stepping stones towards success. Let's not forget, attitude also plays a pivotal role in maintaining perseverance. The journey to success is often long and arduous, punctuated by failures, big and small. An attitude that sees value in persistence, that recognizes the importance of staying the course, becomes the fuel that keeps you going. It's like the steady, enduring flame of a lantern on a dark path, guiding you one step at a time towards your destination. An attitude of learning and growth transforms failure from a source of pain to a source of insight. Every misstep, every setback carries a lesson. With the right attitude, you become a student of life, eager to learn, to understand, to adapt. Each failure then becomes a classroom, and every setback a curriculum designed for your personal growth. But cultivating such an attitude is not a passive process. It requires conscious effort, a deliberate choice to see the silver lining in every dark cloud. It's a commitment to remain steadfast in the face of despair, to remain hopeful in the face of defeat. Remember, the attitude you bring to your failures not only determines your feelings about them, but also your future beyond them. It shapes your character, defines your resilience, and charts your path forward. It's the difference between those who are broken by failure and those who break records despite their failures. As we reflect on this, let's understand that our attitude is not just a reaction to our circumstances. It's a choice, a powerful tool in our arsenal as we face life's challenges. So, let's choose an attitude that empowers us, that uplifts us, and that propels us forward. Let's choose to see failure not as a foe to be feared, but as a friend to be understood, a teacher to be heeded, and a guide to be followed. In the grand narrative of life, where each experience contributes a verse, failure stands out as an unlikely teacher. Its lessons are often harsh, its classroom daunting, yet the wisdom it imparts is invaluable. This teacher, failure, does not hand out easy grades or give comforting pats on the back. Instead, it challenges, it tests, and it pushes us beyond our comfort zones. But like any great teacher, it aims to bring out the best in us. Let's consider the lessons that failure teaches. The first and perhaps the most important is resilience. Resilience is the art of bouncing back, of turning setbacks into comebacks. Failure teaches this art by putting us through tests of endurance and will. It's like the relentless waves shaping a cliff. They crash against it time and again, but each impact only serves to define and strengthen its resolve. Similarly, each time we face failure and rise again, we become more resilient, more capable of facing life's next challenge. Another lesson from this stern teacher is humility. Success can often lead to a sense of invincibility, an illusion that we're beyond failure. But when failure does come, as it inevitably does, it brings us back to earth, reminding us of our fallibility, our humanness. This humility is not about belittling ourselves, but about understanding our limits and our potential to grow beyond them. It teaches us to value help, to appreciate collaboration, and to understand that we're part of a larger tapestry of human endeavor. Failure also imparts wisdom, the kind that can't be found in books or lectures. This wisdom comes from experience, from the trial and error of trying, failing, learning, and trying again. It's a wisdom that deepens our understanding of ourselves, our strengths, our weaknesses, and our capabilities. Like a miner sifting through rock to find precious gems, we sift through our failures to find nuggets of wisdom that guide us in our future endeavors. Moreover, failure teaches us adaptability and flexibility. It challenges our methods, our strategies, and our approaches, forcing us to rethink, reevaluate, and re-engineer our paths. It teaches us that there's more than one way to reach a destination and that sometimes taking a detour can lead to more scenic and enlightening routes. In the face of failure, we learn to be fluid, to adjust our sails when the wind changes direction, to navigate our way through uncharted waters. Failure also teaches us about our passions and convictions. When faced with failure, especially in pursuits we're deeply passionate about, our resolve is tested. It's in these moments that we discover just how much our dreams and goals mean to us. Do we give up at the first sign of trouble, or do we hold on, fight harder, and push further? Failure, in this sense, acts as a filter, separating fleeting interest from true passions. In this classroom of failure, we also learn empathy and compassion. Having walked through the valleys of disappointment and setbacks, we become more attuned to the struggles of others. We develop a kinder, more compassionate perspective towards those around us, understanding that everyone is fighting their own battles, often hidden from view. Finally, failure teaches us gratitude. This might seem paradoxical, but in the aftermath of failure, we come to appreciate the good times more. We learn to cherish the moments of success, the periods of peace, and the simple pleasures of life. Failure makes us more present, more aware of the blessings we have, and more thankful for the journey with all its ups and downs. So, as we continue on our paths, let us embrace failure as a teacher. Let us be attentive students, eager to learn, willing to be tested, and open to growing. The lessons may be tough, the wisdom hard-earned, but they are invaluable in shaping us into more resilient, wise, and compassionate individuals. As we conclude this chapter on failure as a teacher, let's carry its lessons with us. Let them be the undercurrents that strengthen and guide us. In the tapestry of our lives, let the threads of failure not be seen as flaws, but as integral parts of the beautiful design we're creating. Remember, in the grand scheme of things, failure is not just an obstacle. It's a catalyst for growth, a harbinger of wisdom, and a cornerstone of success.